2013.
It is.
And you'll notice a different look to our show.
Yes.
Just a slightly different look. Because it's in keeping with the risk-taking and the entrepreneurship that we take. So we moved last minute to a different studio. Isn't it beautiful?
Isn't this great?
And the really good technicians and staff at M&N.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, we did this very quickly. So we're in a new studio, and we're just going to wait for our callers to call in.
Sure.
I might give them a little, but while we're doing that, yeah, our callers should be calling in. One of the constructive criticisms that I got was that we needed to see a big picture. So what's happening now, so I'm going to show you one-page big picture and show you what's happening now. Oh, we have a caller online? Great. Hello? Can we hear them? Hello? Bob?
Hello?
Hey, Bob, it's Lydia. How are you?
Hi, Bob. Loud and
Lydia,
clear.
this is Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, terrific. Thank you for calling in. Hey. So, Bob, the reason could you tell us your name? You're Robert Cross, right?
Hi, Bill. Hi, Lydia.
All
Hi.
right, Bob. Bob, how you doing?
Can you just state your name for
Yeah,
us?
my name is Robert Cross.
Okay.
Hi, Bill.
All right, Bob.
One of the constructive criticisms I got, Bob, was that I wanted to give a big picture overview of what's happening now, because right now I'm suing in federal court to clear my name from the crooked doctors who have been stalking me through life, and the crooked doctors in Jersey City. So I have a low-tech little diagram, but before we get to that, no, that's not the big picture I'm going to go to. I made a little low-tech one, but we'll zero in on this in a minute. Before we get to the big picture, which will sort of orient everybody because it's a bird's eye view, Bob, you gave me an affidavit this week. Is that correct? Bob? Hello? Is Bob there?
Can't hear Bob.
Oh, give me 1 second, and our technical
That's correct.
Oh, Bob, can you hear me?
That's correct.
Yeah, Bob, can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you now, Lydia. Go
Oh,
ahead.
good.
Okay. You gave me
I hear you.
Okay, good. You gave me an affidavit this week, and I'm going to submit this affidavit into federal court. And the reason why I'm submitting this affidavit into federal court is because I already have my neurologist who has already stated on the record that that my spinal injuries are a direct result of a car crash in June 2008 when I was legally parked. Now, I was getting better through the summer of 2008, and unfortunately, on September 30th, 2008, my spinal injuries were made worse because of a physical assault at Jersey City Medical Center.
Okay.
So these are the crooked doctors in your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So, Bob,
Yes?
I'm going to ask you to slowly, clearly, and loudly please just read the affidavit that you sent me this week, and I'm going to hold it up so the listeners can read along, and they can see the date, okay? So if we could zoom in on Bob's affidavit.
Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Hold on.
okay. Okay. And you could, yeah, that's good. And I can move it if I need to. Okay, that's good. Can you zoom in a little more? Ooh. No. Okay. Do the best you can. No. Okay, and then we'll get Jason into. You can take the stills off too while he reads it. Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's good. So if I hold anything else up, I'll go to camera one.
Sure.
All right, good. Now, see, we're risk takers and entrepreneurs, so we make it work. No matter what happens, we make it work.
That's right.
And I think that's the watchword of the Marines, too, as Jason was telling me.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So, Bob?
Yes.
Okay, I'm holding up your affidavit so the audience can read along. And I'd like you to read this slowly and clearly, enunciate clearly, and then just state the date, okay?
Okay, here we go. This was done on the November 6th of 2013. And it says, I, Robert Cross, being of full age, under penalty of perjury, do hereby swear to the following. Number 1, eyewitness Lydia Radin being physically assaulted by security guards at the Jersey City Medical Center on the evening of Tuesday, September 30th, 2008. This physical assault was completely uncalled for and unwarranted. Number 2, I was physically assaulted by security guards at the Jersey City Medical Center on the evening of Tuesday, September 30th, 2008 also. I accompanied Ms. Radin to the Jersey City Medical Center to protect her. The physical assault on me was completely uncalled for and unwarranted. Number 3, Debbie Simon from the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office never contacted me to confirm the facts. Number 4, no one in law enforcement from Hudson County or from the New Jersey State Attorney's General Office ever contacted me to confirm the facts. And number 5, Lydia Radin's attorneys never contacted me to confirm the facts. Signed by me, Robert Cross.
And you had this notarized.
Yes.
And you did not bribe the notary.
Oh, no, not really. No, not at all.
No, you did not bribe the notary.
No, I did not bribe the notary, right?
Okay. And the reason why I'm having you read this is because you just authenticated it.
Yes.
So what that means is they can't say that we forged it. You're not changing your story. We went to law enforcement in New Jersey. I don't want you to say who, okay, or mention any names. But we went to law enforcement in New Jersey. And one of the things that you tried to do, and I just want to confirm this as a second litigation point, did you, because I'm going to talk about that later in the show, did you mention to a law enforcement officer or agent that you were talking about how the 3 had been changed to a 9, and you were talking about the malicious prosecution against me in New York, and you were talking about how my medical school had changed the 3 into a 9 to try to make up a false story. Do you remember saying, listen, they changed the 3 to a 9, and you were trying to tell that law enforcement person about evidence tampering?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we did 2 things today. Robert Cross has authenticated, and we got some members of a national group, don't say who, to support and help us. So Robert Cross has authenticated this affidavit, and what this means is that Debbie Simon at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office said that she would do an investigation for the crime of false imprisonment that was executed against me. She didn't. She never contacted the witnesses, and Robert Cross is one of them. So what you're living with, and this is what we're fighting, and this is why Jason Berg. Jason, are you there on the phone?
I'm on phone.
Okay, this is Jason Berg, and he's
How you doing, guys?
Hi, Jace. All right.
It's thank you so much for calling in, Jason.
Always a pleasure.
You're starting a citizens initiative because you are going to hold these crooked officials accountable. Is that correct?
Correct. They are violating many constitutional laws and subcodes that they are bound by.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
And through our initiative, we will be able to take on these judges who are not doing their jobs, lawyers are not doing their jobs, and prosecutors are not doing their jobs. And this is not a witch hunt. This is a practicality of our rights as citizens, as we the people of these United States.
Thank you. We're also going to hold the crooked doctors accountable for their crimes.
True that.
And we're going to hold the crooked doctors accountable for fraud, abuse, and waste. This is Medicaid fraud, yes?
Correct.
Okay.
And
Bob?
when they also falsified their records, they also made illegal things against themselves and against you. And with the different forces that we have, these individuals will have to account for their wrongdoing, either by fines or imprisonment. And sometimes they go automatically to imprisonment. It's not, and the court is basically being a body of mercy, truth, justice, and mercy. If you don't have that, what is the point of law? What has turned out to be our law establishment, our judicial, it has become a fodder for lies and a big business. The biggest business in this country right now are our prisons, which are now also going privatized.
Right.
That is really horrendous.
And what
So
we're
we
not
have to
going
be
to, what
on
we're not
guard,
going to,
not to be a group against our authority, but make sure that the authority doesn't abuse its rights against us.
thank you. And what I was going to say is we're not going to pay taxes for fraud, abuse, and waste. We're not, because ultimately these criminals who are are sworn to protect us, not only are we victimized by them, but then we pay for their dirty work and increase taxes. So we're not having that.
I mean, the real thing about taxes, it's not constitutional. There's nothing in the Constitution that the individual should be taxed. But when our government went to the gold reserves, it made us the indentured servant to the government as a corporation business.
Okay, we can get to that to that higher level as soon as we
Get the details.
yeah, as soon as we win at this lower level. Sure. And one of the things that I'm going to get to the big picture. Robert Cross, Bob, are you still there? Bob? Did Bob hang up? Do we still have Bob?
Maybe he hung up. Yeah.
Rich, do we still have Robert Cross on the phone? Oh, okay. All right. So we got Robert Cross authenticated his affidavit.
That's right.
He also confirmed that we went to a law enforcement agency,
That's right.
and at that law enforcement agency, he brought up the issue of how the malicious prosecution in Manhattan involved evidence tampering. And that's what I'm going to focus on now, because we're making our cases on a city level, a county level, a state level, a federal level, and now we're at the federal level. We can go to international human rights organizations and ask for international intervention into the internal affairs of America.
Okay.
And now I'm going to give you the big picture, like the overview.
You have to do that, yeah.
Okay, because we're going to go into federal court, and we can hold federal judges accountable.
Yes.
And I want to give the overview of what's happening right now.
Okay.
So this is the low-tech way of me doing this.
Right.
Do I have to trouble? I'm sorry, Rich. Do I have to trouble you for
You
a
have to
Zoom?
There you
Oh,
go.
okay. Here we go. Yeah, you can take. Oh, perfect.
Very beautiful.
Okay, so let's just. Oh, good. So there's several different ways of doing this. So I'm going to backtrack. I'm in federal court right. Let me just orient this. I'm in federal court right now.
Right.
Hold it. I'll do it. Right now, I'm in federal court in the Eastern District of New York.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm backtracking, and I'm suing Elmhurst Hospital. Just hold it there. Elmhurst Hospital in Queens.
Yeah.
Now, they committed fraud and Medicaid fraud.
They did.
Okay, and supposedly the U.S. Marshals did an investigation, so they're going to be held accountable.
Okay.
So the fraud and stay on the document because this is the big picture. So right now I'm in federal court, and I'm suing Elmhurst Hospital for defaming me and for fraud and for the false allegations that they made to me.
Okay.
And the reason Elmhurst Hospital got involved, if we backtrack, follow the red arrows, we're going to backtrack from Elmhurst Hospital to Rikers Island. So Rikers Island referred me to Elmhurst Hospital. So at Rikers Island, I'm suing the Rikers Island, all the crooked doctors, the crooked psychiatrists at Rikers Island, right here. This is the Rikers Island Mental Health Department. Yes. I was never their patient. They defamed me. They committed fraud. They stuck it to the taxpayers in a great big bill that the taxpayers do not have to pay. They have no defense because under New York state law, they have to get my authorization to be treated as a patient. They do not. They can produce. Stop right there. They can produce no authorization from me.
That's right.
So I'm, you know, they have absolutely, they just can't willy-nilly running around saying I was a patient when I wasn't. So let me just orient myself a little bit. So at Rikers Island, I'm holding the crooked psychiatrists, the crooked doctors, wait, hold it right there, at Rikers Island accountable. And as Jason Berg correctly pointed out, the prison system is a big business. And the only thing they wanted to do by treating me as a patient was milk the taxpayer, milk the taxpayer, milk the taxpayer.
It's for profit.
Milk the taxpayer, milk the taxpayer, milk the taxpayer.
Okay, so from Rikers Island, there are documents at Rikers Island that show the malicious prosecution in Manhattan, and this is some of what we touched on with Robert Cross.
Okay.
In order to put me in Rikers Island, right? There had to be there was a malicious prosecution in Manhattan. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Not only did they get Detective Cologne from the 34th Precinct to lie on the witness stand to illegally convict and illegally incarcerate me, but they engaged in evidence tampering. And we're going to look at that evidence tampering in this show, and I'm going to explain it a little bit. So if we continue backtracking, whoops, and I know we're doing this low tech because we switched.
Well, that's good.
Wait, because we switched. Studios. Okay, here we go. No, that's good. So we're going from Rikers Island. Rikers Island shows the malicious prosecution and the abusive process and the evidence tampering and the obstruction of justice. Stop right there. And right here, the malicious prosecution. There's a subpoena by Judge Simpson that was never complied with. So when a judge refuses to enforce a valid subpoena, that's another crime we're talking about. So we're going to go to the feds with all these crimes because these are federal crimes. Sure. And the malicious prosecution, the Rikers Island documents, the Rikers Island documents and the malicious prosecution in Manhattan lead to, and remember this evidence is in front of federal judges and has been for a while, lead to Jersey City Medical Center and the crimes in Jersey City. So the reason why the malicious prosecution happened in Manhattan, right? That's good, stop there. The reason why the malicious prosecutions happened in Manhattan, which put me in the hands of the crooked doctors, the clutches of the crooked doctors at Rikers Island, the reason why the malicious prosecution happened was to cover up the crimes in Jersey City. So those are the crimes in Jersey City that happened in 2008, and Robert Cross just authenticated an affidavit where he says, yeah, Lidya Radin was physically assaulted at Jersey City Medical Center. I witnessed it because a lot of the details that lead to the crooked doctors at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, which is the root of the problem. And if you, so the problem for me started in 1994 when I matriculated at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. So let's just go back forward. So I'm backtracking. So now we're going to, in 1994, I matriculated at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, the crooked doctors who are the root of this problem. And this is the overview of tracing my persecution for the last 20 years. So if you go to, I moved into Jersey City, so if you go towards Jersey City, right? I'm living in Jersey City right there for about 5 years. I'm litigating against the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. I'm in Jersey City. I discover false financial records from 2005. So the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office has been covering up for false records and fraud and federal student loan fraud in Jersey City since 2005. This is Ed DeFazio, Tracy McQuaid, Debbie Simon. And in order to cover, and a lot of this was coming out in 2008 in my landlord-tenant case, and the crimes were committed in Jersey, at some of them at Jersey City Medical Center, which I'm having prosecuted, the crime of false imprisonment and other crimes, the physical assault, the aggravated harassment against me. That led to me fleeing to Manhattan, and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, who knew about these crimes committed by Albert Einstein since 2008. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office knew about federal student loan fraud and other crimes since 2008. Instead of protecting me, they persecuted me. with false criminal charges in 2009. That led to the malicious prosecution and the police detective who lied to put me in Rikers Island. And you know, all the complaining, stay right here for a minute, all the I can show on just a few documents how all the complaining witnesses against me lied, put me in Rikers Island, and then they really got to work on me, right? Now they're really going to character assassinate me. They were really going to persecute me, and the doctors at Rikers Island, you know, the psychiatrists made up a pack of stories.
Yeah.
One of them is named Raul Calignan.
Okay.
He's a psychiatrist at Harlem Hospital. This guy is dishonest. He's a sociopath. He claimed that there was something wrong with me because I believed that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office was after me. They are after me. They got Detective Cologne to lie on the witness stand,
Yeah.
and thank God, God bless him, Congressman Joseph Crowley from Queens
Sure.
told the truth and authenticated a letter from 2006 that showed that my complaints against Yeshiva University came first,
Right.
and that Detective Cologne lied on the witness stand.
Got it.
Okay, so these crooked doctors at Rikers Island, then, as I serve 11 months illegally, okay, now have to take a final swipe at me, and as I'm trying to get out of Rikers Island, they call up Elmhurst Hospital, and they claim that I needed. Elmhurst Hospital is here. They claimed that I needed
Outpatient.
well, that and discharge planning. I didn't need discharge planning. I didn't need any help from Elmhurst Hospital.
Sure.
Elmhurst Hospital falsified records and committed fraud.
Got it.
My attorneys were supposed to help me.
All right.
They didn't, and we've seen a videotape here with Tony Lombardino. Anthony Lombardino is supposed to be my attorney. He's supposed to be helping me. Instead, I got him on videotape lying.
Right.
These are my attorneys. Because as I told Pauline Roman, the first phone call your attorney is going to get is from opposing counsel, and the first thing they're going to say is, you know, what is it going to take to have you throw this case?
So the case, sure.
Okay, so now we're in federal court, and it's all coming out in federal court now.
Okay.
Now, if these federal judges want to go along with Medicaid fraud and malicious prosecution,
Sure.
and having me defamed well, right now I started suing for defamation,
Sure.
but I can get leave to amend for fraud.
Absolutely.
So if they want to go along with these crimes, they will be removed from the bench by the House Judiciary Committee,
All right.
which happens to be controlled by the Republicans now.
Yeah.
And if my government does not protect my life because they almost murdered me,
Sure.
I have every right to reach out to international human rights organizations. And if you come to me for a minute,
Sure.
how do I know? Because I'm not the only person who was victimized
Okay.
by a government that wouldn't protect them. I had a law professor at Columbia University. I'm an honors graduate
Sure.
of Columbia University. I had offers to go to 3 medical schools. I did not have to go to Yeshiva University's medical school.
That's right.
And one of my professors from Columbia University had a case where there was a woman, she couldn't get orders of protection, she was being stalked through life. Ultimately, her 3 children were murdered, and still the American government would not protect her, and she had to take her case to the international community. So I can do the same thing. Pauline Roman is learning from me, and she's 3 steps behind me,
Sure.
and eventually she can force the city of Jersey City, in her case,
There you go.
to give her equal protection of the law, or she'll march into federal court and force a federal judge
Right.
to force the city of Jersey City to protect her life and the lives of her family. And if this federal judge refuses to provide her with equal protection of the law, she can go to the House Judiciary Committee and ask for this judge to be removed.
Sure.
So she's about 3 steps from that.
Okay.
So Jason, do you understand the big overview?
Everything's coming together, and everyone's protecting themselves. But it's a house of cards. It's going to fall down with the first card goes.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's a lot of justice to be had here. And the last little bit I want to put in is at the at Yeshiva University, in fact, let me take out my newspaper articles. At Yeshiva University right now, there's, I've said this in the last few shows, but I'm going to say it again.
Well, 34.
There are 34 former students
There you go.
who are suing, let me just get I wonder if we could zoom in. Yeah.
Can you blow that?
If they can zoom in.
you go.
There are 34 former students who are suing Yeshiva University now in federal court. This is the Southern District of New York.
Okay.
Now, when I first, these are 34 former students
Right.
who are claiming that
Sexual.
sexual and physical abuse going back decades
Yeah.
at Yeshiva University.
50 years. The last one is 1950.
What?
Going back over 60 years.
Yeah.
62 years. That's phenomenal.
So
And
what,
it's allowed that this institutions been going on for so long with this creed of corruption and reprehensible behavior.
and what's important about this is that they're suing in the Southern District of New York. This is federal court, 500 Pearl Street. We'll show that in a minute. I started my lawsuit in 2004 in the Southern District of New York, and despite the fact that I've got, you know, the crooked judges and the crooked lawyers, what I was able to do was to lay a foundation, because what Yeshiva University may decide to do is they'll say, oh yeah, there's this culture of corruption. It's not a school; it's a criminal organization.
Sure.
They'll try to say that this is just a few bad apples. No, it's not.
I see.
Because what I did and what other members of the group that I put together, the Yeshiva Victims Group, did was we managed to lay a foundation in both the Southern District, the federal court in the Southern District of 500 Pearl Street, and in the Eastern District, where I'm suing now, but there's also a foundation there. We laid a foundation that showed that this is a pattern and a practice.
Behavior.
Thank you. That's school-wide. That's not unique to a few bad apples.
That's right.
That there are many, many people institutional-wide, many many purportedly responsible people who allowed 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Those are students.
Yeah.
Then there's the Heidi Weissman case, the John Casey case. There's case after case after case. So this is really not a school. This is an organized criminal entity that uses religion as if it were a cover. And one of the folks who should understand this very well is the one decent judge we found.
Gleason. Judge Gleason.
What's his name?
Is it Judge Gleason?
It's the Honorable.
The Honorable Gleason. Yeah.
The
Truly
hon-
honorable,
the-
not just a title.
Is he a good guy, may
A
I
good
say?
guy. Yes, indeed.
Yeah?
Good guy.
Yep, he's a good guy.
Good
and he's,
guy. All right. He's not dishonorable.
No.
That's fantastic.
he's wait, let me hold this up. Hold it. He's one of the good guys. He's a good guy.
Fantastic.
And he was a former federal prosecutor. He understands corrupt organizations.
Right.
This is the very good press that he's getting.
Yes.
Here, let me get this. This is the good press that he's getting.
Yeah.
He looks really nice in this picture, don't you
He
think?
does. He did a good shot.
Yeah. And of the, over, I don't know, how many judges we burned our way through.
Oh, I'm telling you.
And actually, in this photograph, he looks like we'll do this one. This one, he looks like a marshal.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like a U.S. Marshal here.
Very thorough.
And I think I have one in here too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Let me. Well, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It doesn't matter. We'll get to that
we
later.
get it.
But I burned my way through over 100 judges.
Oh,
And the judge I found one decent federal judge.
right.
And in Brooklyn, we found one decent landlord-tenant judge,
Oh, yeah. That, yeah.
supervising judge
Yeah.
John Lansing.
John Lansing and, was it Michael Schoen? Was that
Michael-
his clerk?
His law clerk, Michael Chung, I think,
yeah,
or Michael
something-
Chu, I think.
True. Yeah, I think something like that. Well, at
But
any
his
rate,
law
they-
clerk is very good too. So we found 3 decent people in this nightmare so far. And the judge I have now, Pamela Chen, has all kinds of conflict of interest with me because she worked with Sonia Sotomayor before Sonia Sotomayor became a U.S. Supreme Court justice. John Gleason deserves to be on the Supreme Court. He's got judicial temperament. He's independently minded.
That's right.
He's thoughtful. He deserves to be on the Supreme. Sonia Sotomayor. Sonia Sotomayor. I went down to the Senate Judiciary Committee and talked to the Republicans who sat on the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Chaired, yeah.
And She's one of 36 federal judges in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals who upheld fabricated rulings. So Pamela Chen had a good, the federal judge, she's a new federal judge. My case was transferred to her. She has all kinds of conflicts of interest. She did pro bono work for Yeshiva University.
There you go.
I have an audio tape with her law clerk where he says, of course, Yeshiva University is a party in your case.
Sure.
She worked with Sonia Sotomayor. I was trying to testify against Sonia Sotomayor. You know, how come the FBI haven't talked to me
That's right.
about Sonia Sotomayor and every single judge on the Second Circuit Court of Appeals who upheld fabricated rulings by a Zionist racist school that rapes children? This is what they're protecting. This former state attorney general, Ann Milgram.
Okay.
She was the state attorney general, and Pamela Chen worked with her. Judge Chen, the judge who's ruling in my case now, Ann Milgram was the state attorney general. When I protested to the state attorney general when I was living in Jersey City, how come you're going after Judge Rosen? Judge Rosen did nothing wrong. How come you're going after Mayor Healy? You know, Mayor Healy didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So she's got lots of conflicts of interest that she's going to have to be accountable for.
Right. That's right.
But so far, you got the big picture, Jason?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Very good.
Okay, so
I mean, it's really massive. The real thing is it's really, really putrid is how the system allows itself to be in such muck, and you don't even need to be in the mire. The whole point of their oath of office is to uphold the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They're not doing that, and they are violators of their oath, and they are there to serve the people, not to serve their interests.
And what's really good about this is not only did they take an oath to uphold the Constitution, but and so in my case, you know, you can't you can't violate my right to effective assistance of counsel. They have the national group that's trying to help us.
Yes.
You know, we talked about this with them. I think you were part of this discussion. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office and all the judges and prosecutors in New York want to promote this myth that they have absolute immunity. No, you don't. Not when you violate my constitutional right to effective assistance of counsel and have me railroaded. And not when Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro suborned perjury, which is a very serious crime, and you know that because your brother's an attorney, right?
It's a felony.
Okay.
To go on a little further, just with the fact of the going on with you, even the fact that they've been throwing out your documents and changing the documents is all a fine or a year's imprisonment by the U.S. Code. So here we have these people not even paying attention to their own code. They're not looking at their own acts.
And not only did they throw out my documents because I fired my attorneys.
Sure.
And I had to go on and do my appeal as a pro se litigant. So what I would do is I would put my documents into the pro se office in the Southern District of New York, and the attorneys who handled my case would either throw out my documents or lie to the judge. In my case, there's no plausible deniability because my mother went to talk to Judge Patterson, and she presented him with one of my submissions, and he acted like he'd never seen it. So we had my mom coming forward saying, no, he has no plausible deniability. But in your case in Jersey City, Bill, remember the 14-page, Bill and I about a year ago submitted a
fee waiver.
We submitted a 14-page
Fee waiver.
motion request, and the court in Jersey City, the court clerks, threw out 13 pages.
Well, it was Judge Bariso was the supervising, but the assignment judge.
So when they threw out those pages,
wait, let me see
what did the system do about that? Did you go out and make a report saying these documents were
we did
deleted?
all of that. So when you get your citizens group up and running. And Bill's going forward. You know, he's taken action with this was a part of his frivolous eviction because a lot of his stuff was coming out in landlord-tenant court. So as he was going forward, he made a request. It doesn't matter what the request was.
Right.
It doesn't matter that it was what it, you know. The bottom line is he submitted 14 pages.
Right.
All 13 pages got thrown away.
They disappeared.
Except for one.
Right. And that was the form.
Okay, so he was filling out a form and he was explaining the form and he was explaining his request.
Yes.
But all those details don't matter. You know, these clerks think that they're running the show. They're not.
Yeah.
You know, this is how
in Jersey City, the clerks are the gatekeeper, if you would.
the flow of information
It's controlled.
to decision makers and to gatekeepers is controlled so that they don't get full, true, and complete information.
And how do you do that?
It's called a crime. It's propaganda. In Yeshiva University's case, because Yeshiva University handles very sensitive information for an intelligence agency, and they're probably doing psychological profiles and some other stuff. You know, when the flow of information to gatekeepers and decision makers is manipulated, these are very serious crimes, and the wrongdoers have to be held accountable.
That's right.
So, and I'm not the only one who's witnessed this. Bill Moyers has also made documentaries.
No Moyers.
How our government is manipulated through the sin of omissions and through these false, how the flow of information that the people, that the decision makers and the gatekeepers, the flow of information to them is manipulated to manipulate our government. So I'm not the first person who's witnessing this, but I'm driving it out into the open.
Right.
And so when I went down to during the Sonia Sotomayor hearings, they were desperate to have me shut up. What I got was, for being a conscientious citizen and a good person, what I got was I had the U.S. Capitol Police falsify their records, and I caught them at it. So
what were they falsifying? That you were a citizen?
No, they falsified. They created a fiction, and they were trying to create a false psychological profile. And the false psychological profile was to justify what Yeshiva University, what the Manhattan District Attorney's Office had done in criminal court.
That's right.
And what Judge McLaughlin, Edward J. McLaughlin, had done in Manhattan criminal court. They had removed me from my own trial. And that's part of one of the things that we're appealing. You can't remove me, the defendant, from my own trial.
That's right.
And they're trying to poo-poo it and say it doesn't matter. It does matter. Judge McLaughlin knew that was wrong. That's very serious, and it's a slippery slope. Right. If I'm gone for a minute or two, or 3 or 4, I don't know what went on. The transcript's been falsified anyway.
Yeah.
The court system is corrupt.
Sure.
But they were falsifying a psychological profile, and they claimed that I was disruptive in the trial, so I had to be removed from the room. So during...
Were you a Bobby Seals at that time? You were really outrageous, creating the thing. You had to be tied down?
No, I was sitting there.
I'm being sarcastic, but I mean, this is how outrageous they are to you and Bobby Seale.
Yeah.
What they did was they were trying to create this false psychological profile. So what they claimed was that during the Sonia Sotomayor hearings, they claimed that that I was disrupting the Sonia Sotomayor hearings, and I had to be removed from the hearing room. Well, the hearing room is this huge place.
Yeah.
There's tables with free press. Yeah. The whole thing is videotaped and audio taped. There's a huge table with all these senators.
Yeah.
I was sitting there quietly, and I knew they were going to pull something, so when I came in, I deliberately introduced myself to the police officers there, and I said, hello, my name is Lidya Radin. I'm here for the Sonia Sotomayor hearings. Do you have a problem with me? Yeah. They're like, no, just sit there and continue doing what you're doing. I sat there quietly. I wanted to hear what Senator Grassley had to say. I wanted to hear what Senator Colburn had to say, so I was sitting there quietly, but there's, literally several hundred people in the room.
Right.
So if I was disrupting the Sonia Sotomayor hearings at the Senate Judiciary Committee such that I had to be removed from the room, the chairman would have been beating on his gavel. They would have had to physically remove me from the room. Hundreds of witnesses. It would have been on audio tape and videotape. None of that happened. All of this was the U.S. Capitol Police falsifying their reports, because what really happened was, after the Sonia Sotomayor hearings, the Democrats, the Democratic Party, had this big press conference, and I raised my hand and I embarrassed Senator Schumer. And Chuck Schumer didn't like it.
I did embarrass him. He had to tell the truth.
I embarrassed him.
I
embarrassed him. I was like, I'm your constituent. Here's what's happening to me. And, you know, he was so embarrassed that he signaled me over. He wrote a phone number. He said, this is a private cell phone number. Call me. I'll help you. He's a liar.
That's right.
He's a liar.
And was wrong?
Pardon me?
What was up with that phone number? It was a wrong number?
No, it's a good number, and every time I call it, they don't do anything.
Right.
You know, I get the bum's rush.
That's right.
And I have all the audio tapes to prove it. So
again, he's a Democrat, and, you know, if they have to own up to the truth, then they would burn.
Thank you. What I want to get to today is I want to show some of the details of how my lawyer was turned against me, and how the whole school, Yeshiva University, the whole school, I want to get into some of these details.
That's good.
What the audience has to know is that in Jersey City, the city, and this is true of many municipalities, they were incorporated under the Faulkner Act.
Okay.
So, and I've discussed this with Pauline Roman. In fact, she's fighting back. What happened to her was wrong.
Yes.
I met with her yesterday. She's filling out the notice of appeal. She's doing the appeal. She's holding the judge responsible for making a false court record in her case.
That's right.
And the judges here, the city health department, now, so we're working around the corrupt court system. The city health department, this is the Jersey City Health Department, they have enough information to act in her case. And if they refuse to, and they're dragging their feet, and they're stalling, and they're going to do more inspections, she doesn't need any more inspections. She doesn't need any more evidence. She has everything she needs. So she's asking the city council, which is over the Jersey, the health department. She's saying, look, Jersey City Council, make a phone call. Mayor Fulop, you're responsible for the city health department. Make a phone call. The city health department has a choice. They either force her landlord to cleaning up the mold and cleaning up the lead, or they fine the landlord immediately.
Absolutely.
That's it. Those are your choices. So if Mayor Fulop...
No, there's another choice. The city, if the city doesn't do what it's supposed to, the people need to be removed, because they're there to protect and serve we the people, and we are not there for them. They are there for us. That's why we're legally taxed, and we don't get the proper service.
Thank you. So what's going to happen is, not only, thank you, Jason, not only can the city health department be fired, and they should, but Pauline, you can hold the city council and Mayor Fulop responsible. They're demonstrating moral turpitude. And as we discussed before the show, what's moral turpitude?
Well, moral turpitude is not doing what you're supposed to do. It's but you could have a more accurate definition. Go ahead.
Well, as we discussed before the show, moral turpitude is if our elected officials who are sworn to uphold the Constitution, and remember, money changed hands here. Like a lot of Pauline's money went to this dishonest landlord to pay his dishonest attorney, Michael Rubenstein. So
actually, a shame that he's more stupid to pay out and be vengeful. He could have done that. Now his building is even more in turmoil, because now he has lead poison, in the building. It needs to be removed, in addition to the mold. And if in Pauline's room, that water had to come from someplace. That means that mold could go off the entire house of that side of her living room.
She's got toxic mold. She has high levels of lead. She's got toxic mold. She has high levels of lead. She has untreated raw human feces that's aerosoling bacteria and viruses through the entire building. This is a landlord who will spend thousands of dollars paying a dishonest attorney, Michael Rubenstein, to create a false court record.
Instead of making repairs.
Right. And so, Pauline, not only can the city health, so we got the corrupt court system. We work around them. The Jersey City Health Department can force the landlord to clean clean up the mold, clean up the lead, or they can fine him.
Absolutely.
Okay. If they refuse to act, and that's what they're doing, they're refusing to act.
Yeah.
Then she goes to the city council,
Yeah.
and the city council and Mayor Fulop, who's the Marine, you know, the law and order candidate.
You know, the city health department is under the administration, Mayor Fulop. That's not under, technically speaking, city council. It's the legislative branch, and of course the executive is the Mayor Fulop. So he himself can direct order and have them do the job.
And if they don't, thank you, Bill. And if they don't, then Mayor Fulop will be removed from office for moral turpitude.
Yeah.
Because wait, let me just finish.
Yeah, sure.
Because he's demonstrating irrefutably a reckless disregard for human life.
Yeah. Now, Stacey Flanagan is the director of the health department, and Steve Fulop, as the mayor, he's her boss.
That's right.
He can move it along like that.
But when he continues to refuse, not only did I lay a foundation for Pauline, because they demonstrated in my case with the physical assault, right? And we had Robert Cross read his affidavit, and we explained the bird's eye view. Okay, so not only not only did I demonstrate a reckless disregard for human life in my case, but it's irrefutable that we are witnessing in real time a reckless disregard for human life in Pauline Roman's case. We will have Steve Fulop removed from office as mayor of Jersey City for moral turpitude, because he's demonstrating irrefutably that he lacks the honesty, the integrity, the good moral
and transparency,
the justice. He should not. And standing behind us is every single Democratic rival, every single independent like Jason Berg, and 13,000 people who didn't vote for Mayor Fulop.
That's right.
And all his supporters that he's alienating.
See, the bottom line here, I have to get in. The bottom line is Mayor Fulop. Now, the buck stops here, Mayor Steve Fulop. I mean, you can't get any more like that. You can't get more firm than that.
And as Jason
and he
Berg...
wants the power. You know, it's very interesting. He wants the power. He's got the power now. Now he's doing the complete opposite of what he was saying that Healy was doing. So now he's in the same clutches of his own stupidity of the former mayor. The man is not being responsible. The man is, the administration is not even trying to be transparent. We called the meeting with the health director, and then we got a call back that it could only be with Pauline. And we came there as a group. We didn't come there as we came there as a group, and we wanted to be a group. And she didn't want to meet with us, which is totally outrageous, because we are the people. We are not your stooges. You serve us, and we don't serve you. Exactly.
So not only can Steve Fulop be removed and the entire city council be removed, but and you're working on so that's one avenue. And there is an army standing behind us. 13,000 people who did not vote for mayor here, who did not vote for Steve Fulop for mayor. Every Democratic rival, every Republican rival, every independent rival, and Steve Fulop is alienating his own supporters with what he's doing, because his actions belie his propaganda campaign and his public persona. But so not only can he be removed under the laws, the Faulkner Act that incorporated Jersey City, because he's demonstrating the moral turpitude, and he's demonstrated it in my case, but Jason Berg is organizing a citizens initiative, which we're not going to give away right now. So that's another prong. But in addition to that, Pauline Robin can march into federal court, and she can ask a federal judge to force the city of Jersey City to provide her with equal protection of the law. And if that federal judge won't do his job, hello, House Judiciary Committee, and I'm already going to the House Judiciary Committee with the crimes in my case, because Judge Chen right now in federal court has irrefutable evidence in her hands of very serious crimes in my case. The Medicaid fraud at Rikers Island, the Medicaid fraud at Elmhurst Hospital, the Medicaid fraud at Jersey City Medical Center. And so this is all going back to Yeshiva University and its persecution. So there's lots of things that we can do to hold these people accountable.
Now, one last thing is this corruption, it's so deeply ingrained and so widespread. It's the mind-boggling.
No, well, we got a grip on it
Got
now.
a handle on it.
We got a handle on it now. So one of the
it's really interesting with everything that's going down, with the Constitution and
we're here.
You're here.
with the way the Constitution is, we've seen that we have power. I've said for years, I saw something wrong with our government. The way it was so arrogant, its pompousness. It's like the FDA is now taking out trans fats.
Okay, wait, Jason, I'm going to interrupt you.
What about the sugar, the corn, fructose sugar? That is syrup that is everything, and it's known to be a carcinogen. Everything in our food, the Food and Food Quality Act of the turn of the century was to protect us from these adulterated ingredients, and they haven't done that for years.
That may be true, but what we're going to try to do is stay focused, because it's the crimes that in my case and Pauline's case. Exactly. Are very, very easy to see.
That's right.
And if we start ranging through all kinds of issues, this with great respect, this is not a commentary show. When I talk to a law enforcement agent, he's like, we want less commentary, more facts.
There you go.
Because the purpose of the Crooked Doctors show is to drive forward
That's right.
the
legislation and
legislation and litigation,
There you go.
because we're trying to get something done.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Laws on the books.
we're not just here to comment and observe and that kind of stuff.
That's right.
So what we want to do right now, and I appreciate this, Jason, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to organize up the citizens group to push forward, make sure we remove these people from office. So what we're going to, instead of, you're really good when we stay concrete, but when we start, going off into all kinds of other territory, that's not what we need right now.
Well, she's saying you got a job to do, Jason.
Look,
Giving it work.
Like people staying in line.
That's right.
I'm sorry?
When elected officials, such as Riviera, tell people like Pauline Roman to go see where he lives, and then gets irate and is a hypocrite and berates her, he's violating his oath of office. So,
that may be true, but those are minor details. That may be true, but those are minor details. What's important right now, and we're just going to stick to this, is Pauline Roman has high levels of lead in her apartment. She's got toxic mold in her apartment. She has human feces in her basement. This is untreated raw sewage, which is aerating bacteria and viruses throughout the building. And the city health department can either get the landlord to clean it up, or they fine him. That's it.
That's the bottom line.
And if they don't do it, the city council better do it. And the city council doesn't do it, Mayor Fulop doesn't do it. And if they don't do it, then we march into federal court. They're removed from office. That's it. Okay? And nobody's stopping this. And if the federal judge doesn't want to do it, he gets removed by the House Judiciary Committee. I know. In my case, we've got the Manhattan District Attorney's Office committing the crime of subordination of perjury. They got a police detective to lie on the witness stand to illegally incarcerate me. And these crooked doctors at Yeshiva University are dangerous. Dangerous to others. This is the danger today, okay? Because they will not stop, okay? They almost murdered me, and they will not stop. And I'm going to show you the evidence tampering in my case that Robert Cross talked about.
Yes.
With a federal law enforcement agency. He brought this up to an agent. And guys, if you're not paying attention here, okay, Yeshiva University holds itself out to the general public as having expertise in psychiatry, okay? So they when I brought some of these issues up to elected officials, and I said, when you can demonstrate, like I can demonstrate, and like I'm demonstrating here at this show over and over and over again, and hammering them with it, is when a school falsifies educational records and financial records and destroys the lives of innocent people, and now we're up to God knows how, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, over 40 people, okay? And I go to Margaret Spellings when she was Secretary of Education. Margaret Spellings lied to the FBI. I am not harassing Margaret Spellings when she was the U.S. Secretary of Education, and she was empowered empowered, and I checked with a military officer who also happens to be an attorney. Okay, this was a commissioned officer for 15 years. Margaret Spellings was empowered by law to pull yeshiva universities to funding from every source, including the CIA. And the response I got back was, Yeshiva University's medical school gets money that cannot be touched by the CIA. Right. Why? Okay. Why are we trusting this school that we can demonstrate is nothing but a pack of liars? And let's see one of those lies. Rich, can you bring up the evidence tampering, the 3 to a 9, the documents that's labeled evidence tampering? Okay, this is, no. Oh, no, yeah, this is it. Scroll down. This is good. This is Columbia University. So, and that's Judge McLaughlin. My attorney is in on it. Scroll down. This was a form that I filled out.
Can you zoom in?
No, this is good. I can see it. This was a form that I filled out in 1993. Scroll down a little bit more. And you see the bottom? This is forgery in the 2nd degree, okay? My medical school changed the date there. I signed this on 7/26/1993. And you can see the first 9. I make my 9s with a nice straight back, okay? And you see the second 9 where it's curved into a foot?
Curve there.
Yeah, that's a 3. Okay, that's a 3 that they changed into a 9, okay? And they did that because they were trying to say that I withdrew from the school.
Oh, my God. The more you blow it up, you can definitely see
I'll
that
blow it
it's-
up some
that
more.
it's
Jason-
I
great.
said blow it up.
Jason, are you
That's
watching this
outrageous.
on computer in Jersey City? There you go.
Yeah, like I see it, and you blow it up. I mean, you start seeing it. When you go move it over, you can actually see the formation. Move it further over. You can see the 3, and you can see the line being wide there.
Yeah, go
And
back a little.
And a signature expert would say that is a fraud.
Yes.
You can definitely see it as a fraud number.
Yes.
And that's 10 years to 20 years in prison for falsifying or changing documents.
Thank you. And we got about less than a minute left. So I'm going to go into the reason why they did this, and they had to admit to it. They claimed that a secretary did this, okay? A secretary had no motive to do this. Martin Bachstein, the dishonest general counsel, did this, and he was acting in an organized criminal conspiracy with Jimmy David. My persecution continues to this day, and Pauline Roman let me know yesterday that she was afraid for my safety because her landlord is a thug. So we're going to ask for orders of protection. Jason, we got 15 seconds left. Say goodbye to our folks, whatever else you want to say.
Folks, this country is yours, and what Lydia has gone through should not be there. We need to be working together. You're going to be finding more about taking control over yourself, your life, and we the people. We are one under the sun. We are united when we think we are in the same team. Nothing can be done if we don't take action. Peace out.
Out. Okay, well, so we'll talk to you soon, Jason.
All right, thank you so much.
All right,
Thanks.
Jason,
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
God bless.
we're out.
Yeah.
There you go.
We were out about.
You got a lot of stuff in there.
I had a whole lot
You
more
see
to
this
do.
over- Great, boy. Didn't she get it good?
Who?
Steady.